Sorry for the delay. We wanted to use our slide, but we couldn't. So I welcome Jeannie and Christoph to the panel. So we want to talk about creative heart of German game market. Are you all from Germany? No? Is someone from Germany here? Okay. So it would be a nice panel. Let's start with an introduction. Let's start with Jenny and then Christoph.
Yeah, hello everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm Jeannie, originally from Venezuela, so not German. But I have around 8 years in Germany, and I have 17 years working in gaming industry, different companies, different countries as well. And I'm currently working as a director of publishing for Gamigo. The Gamigo is a German PC console browser web mobile company. And yeah, I'm very happy to be here to discuss about German market.
Christoph, please.
Hi, I'm Christoph. As you can tell by my name and my accent, I'm from Germany. Living in
Can I
Hamburg.
ask your surname? It was so hard for me.
Sachsenhausen.
Okay. Sachsenhausen, right?
Sachsenhausen. So it's like Saxony, like the German tribe, and then Hausen is where they live. So the place where the Saxons live. That's the meaning of it.
Okay.
So yeah.
Good to know.
Little history education. No, but yeah, I'm from Hamburg. I'm the co-founder and managing director of Sunday. Sunday is Germany's largest gaming company by downloads. So we had last 12 months, around 150 million downloads. According to Sensor Tower, that's the biggest. Maybe Gamigo is also on a similar track, but we measure your numbers maybe a little bit differently. But we're the largest in pure mobile games, hyper-casual games. Now trying to shift more into the hybrid direction, so extending the lifetime of our games more. Yes, before that I didn't have anything to do with gaming at all. So that's also interesting because many of the people working on games did something else in games before, and like jumping from games company to games company, I just jumped right in fresh. So it's, I have an interesting and fresh perspective also on the scene maybe in Germany. Because it's quite old, and I'm like coming from the outside.
Perfect. Okay, so some introduction from my side. My name is Golma, and I've been working in the gaming industry for 6 years almost, and I've been working 5 years in Cafe Bazaar, an alternative Android platform in MENA, and then 1 year in casual gaming development company, and then I recently moved to Germany. Then I had like so many questions about German gaming market, and then we were discussing it with Jeannie and Christoph that we want to also talk about them with you. So let's start. Yeah, we had some slides here, and we wanted to ask you, do you have any idea that what has been or we can ask your ideas and then audience, how has been the growth rate for newly funding companies in Germany, like gaming companies, since 22 to 2023? Like, do you have any idea? We want to start the conversation from here. Like, what is the growth rate for the any number? Someone?
Let's say 5. You know.
Again?
5.
5%. Okay. Do you have any idea? Yeah, you.
3%.
3%? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, I can say like minus 65%. So it's quite a good number. So we can start this time with Christoph. So why do you think it's like this? And so the question here is that why we have this scene in Germany, like not that much new companies are funding, or maybe we can like go a bit back and start with the history of mobile game development, and then we can discuss a little bit about what has been so far in the mobile game development in Germany, and then we can come to this point and say, what's happening?
Yes, let's do that because there's a lot of history to tell. So Germany, and especially Hamburg, by the way, has been on the very much forefront of gaming 15 years ago, when there were still no mobile games, there were only browser games. So there are huge companies coming from that, like Bitpoint, where you also were part of. There were companies like Games, Good Games, many others, and Gamigo as well. I think also dating back to that at the time. Hugely successful and earning
Maybe Flare Games also, right?
Flare Games also back then, yes.
Crytek, yeah.
So many,
Yeah,
yeah. So many, yeah, but Crytek was always AAA, right?
Yeah.
But talking about the evolution of mobile, they're all coming from this browser game space. And back then they were not like they were world market leaders. It was partially the whole free-to-play systems were partially invented in Germany, in Hamburg. It was the place to be 15 years ago, and they were so successful with that they earned so much money that they just kept milking it, because that was the right thing to do, because it was they had their established place in the market, and just doing the next event, doing the next extension of the game, keeping the players longer, milking them more, was the only reasonable business decision that you can do. Creating new games, of course they tried, but it's super risky, and none of the companies that had this initial huge success 15 years ago could really do follow-ups, because also they specialized their teams on just making things better, just optimizing the games more, getting another 10, 20, 30% out of it. And this is contrary to the skills and the mindset that you need to go on a risky adventure and try something new and fail and do many iterations. And many of the founders also believe like, yeah, we just need to do what we did in the beginning, just let's try, the formula still must work, we just need to put it in a new context, and no, it did not. So all of these companies decided at some point, okay, it's probably not worth investing more into trying new things, let's just keep milking what they have. And for them, personally, for the shareholders, great decision. They're all very, very rich now. But that explains why there's not so much new stuff coming up. It's more centered around all of these companies, and also many of the employees, moving around from one company to another. So they all know each other, and they talk a lot about the good old times. At least that's my impression.
So from what I understand, you say that it's a traditional kind of business. However, it's not a traditional business, really. Like
it's not very entrepreneurial.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Jenny, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I want to also, and totally agree with Christopher. So, in fact, still these companies have games that have ages there. So, for example, Gamigo, we have games that have 10 years in the market. In Bitpoint, Farmerama, for example, have 12 years in the market, and it's still there, and they are still trying to stand the life of this game forever. That, to be honest, is, as I mentioned, is to don't go in the risk area of, and it's funny because these days in mobile, this is something that's happening, and the light ops is key for mobile, but this is another topic, talking about the German companies, and they also faced with a reality that the most of these games, because they was very old, they was in engines, old engines, so to do new things, they need to also change engine. They was updated in Flash and other technologies that was very hard for them to change. And they say, okay, you know what? So let me just keep going with my game. My game is stable. I have my core audience. So why I need to do something new? Maybe I can do a reskin of what I'm doing, but still with my core audience. So they start to stand and they try to don't be like crazy with new things. And all the topic is when they try it, because in my case, for example, I can, talking about Bitpoint, also Gamigo, we try some mobile experience, but the fact for the management are really into traditional PC console browser business. For them it's very hard to understand how mobile works. And then every time that you say, oh, you need to invest X amount of money in marketing, what? Are you insane? No way. Or they say like, oh, you need to wait 1+ year to recover the money. No, it's not gonna happen. So this conservative part of the mindset for the traditional PC browser console business is also some of the reason why this company didn't be more entrepreneurial or risky in terms of new type of game going to mobile.
So, as I understand, like this mindset of PC and console is also coming to the. Is it working?
I think it's off. Your light is red.
Do you want to take mine?
No, but
Yeah, we can share.
Is it working?
I can.
So this traditional mindset of console and PC is implied in the mobile industry. Which is interesting because when you look to the revenue of PC and mobile, PC and console, please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's almost steady, like since it started to generate revenue, like I can say, like early in like 2000. Since now it has a steady revenue, but like for mobile games, we have a like peak in generating revenue after introducing like App Store or Play Store, and after introducing like hit games, maybe like Clash of Clans or Pokemon Go. I think it happens also in the German market. So I want to like come to this point. If we can talk about some games maybe that had some influences on the revenue of mobile games here in the German market, because I have in this perspective in the MENA market that some games had revolution effect on the even production of the games. Like when Clash of Clans released, we had these developers that they were like, oh my god, we can sell things to the people. Like this is happening and people are buying in-app purchase. So I want to ask, like, is something happened similar in Germany, and have you had such experience with a specific genre, a specific team that had similar effect in the German market?
Yes, regarding the revenue, as you mentioned, of course there's a massive difference between mobile evolution and console PC. So especially when the COVID time was insane. But yeah, PC, console also have some declining, now it's more steady, but they have some increasing in the last years, especially for PC, Steam, and in the future, well, Epic as well is putting a lot of effort for that. But yeah, mobile is definitely a big in that regard, and not necessarily for German market in general. The American market is really mobile oriented, and is one of the Asian market as well. For the gaming perspective, back to what I mentioned before, that it was very hard to implement new technologies for the companies. So there are the example of InnoGames and Good Games. They, for example, they start to think about cross-platform. So they say, okay, why we have this game steady, it's working well. In the case of Force of Empire or Big Farm, and they say, like, okay, well, we don't just go to another platform, and they start in the experience with mobile, and they have a really good success. I don't say Clash of Clans level, of course, Clash of Clans is other level, but they have a really decent performance there. And then other companies start to realize, okay, though, we have an opportunity for mobile. But in this case, of course, there was a lot of cross-audience experience that was really good for this company. And this was the moment that other traditional PC console companies start to think about, okay, we should go to do some cross-platform experience, or we should go just directly to do some mobile experience. And it's one. Your company start to do some new initiative things, right?
Yeah, I think that the things that you mentioned, especially you coming from the MENA market, that Germany culture is very different regarding their consumption. Because I don't know so much about Café Bazaar, but my rough understanding is it's MENA games for the MENA region.
Yeah.
So it's produced in MENA and also consumed in MENA. While in Germany we have to separate the consumer market from the production market. They're very different from each other. So yes, the consumer market, mobile is in the top definitely, but also console super high, PC super high. Germany is huge on consuming games. On the games production, we are like more consuming games from the outside. There's also a big production market in Germany, but they're not so revenue focused often. So when you go next door, you will see a lot of super creative indie studios. There are a lot of them in Germany, but they are not coming from the motivation like, hey, Clash of Clans is making so much money, let's also make so much money. That is not their intent. They are here to create creative artwork. They want peer recognition. They want to win awards. They want to show their friends, look how many Steam wish lists I have. And then the revenue is also important, but it's more like, yeah, it's more I want to live my life free. That's more the mindset of the German indie market. Because also that's what gets funded. Because yes, there is funding in Germany for a lot of projects, and many of the guys next door also maybe got funding. But here the funding is not coming from the Ministry of Economy, but from the Ministry of Cultural Affairs. And this makes a huge difference because there is no business incentive behind the funding, is only a cultural incentive. So the game that you create must have a cultural impact on the market. So if you make a game about history, a game about people struggling with mental health, about diversity topics, so this gets all funding. But it doesn't mean it's going to be successful in the consumer market. But still a valuable asset, but treated like just viewed through this different lens. So and a lot of this is taught a lot in the university, so there's lots of super talented, super motivated game developers in Germany. But mobile is just not attractive for them. Because also there's this story about like, yeah, 15 years ago all of this mobile stuff worked, but now it's not working anymore. And it's also a little bit shady what these companies are doing then. They're trying to rip customers. I only want to do honest games, premium games where you sell upfront, because everything else is unethical. That's a lot what we are facing in Germany, this mindset. So people are less motivated to become the next billionaire. They're more motivated to be the highest award winner. On average, of course, there are exceptions like me, but so yeah.
I think Christoph brought the topic to a good point. So we can wrap the first question. That the question was like, what was the story of the German market and what was the scene? So we started from like we had these traditional players in the market, and still we have them. So we have some maybe mindset, I can say, that are driving this scene. Like maybe this mindset are driving both developers and both who give funding, right? Because like they say, maybe we should focus on like some aspects more than like driving business, and then I can like maybe mention some bureaucracy also in the German market is like then giving funds and then freezing funds are these like making so much trouble, or maybe there are no tax incentives like in Germany, which like everywhere in Europe or like Canada or Asia, they are offering incentive for tax, but it's not happening in Germany. So so this is not bringing incentive for indie developers or like small size developers to come to the scene and like start making a game. So this is why like the growth rate of newly built gaming companies is like minus 60%. So we can go to the next question that Jeannie still talk about it, and it was nice that we want to talk about creative part of the German market. So so we have this diversification in the German market that we have like PC, console, board game, even like here, and I know that average age of players in mobile game is 38, which is so interesting for me. Because in Asia, I think like in China, if you call about Asia, it's like 16, and here is like so high. So we can talk about like this like cross-platform or new technologies that I think this is something that Germany can benefit from. So yeah, Jeannie, please start.
Yeah. So yeah, and just closing the last topic that you mentioned, yeah, it's a lot of bureaucracy when you want to request some funding. Yeah, I experienced that, and just to fill the formulary is a nightmare. So yeah. So yeah, talking about audiences, it's very interesting because traditionally Germany, and correct me if I'm wrong, sorry, is very hardcore gamers to have here, and also players who really like games like simulation is one of the genres that is the most farming simulator, huge here, and simulate everything. Like train simulator, parking simulator, whatever simulator is successful here. So and they have like these guys who play these games are just, let's say, no, I don't want to say all guys because I don't want to feel old, but yeah, 30, 30 plus, 40 plus.
Okay.
And then when the mobile start to come here, they don't take it seriously because they are like really, as I say, they really think about the play is something like they take the time, they have the tool, they are more immersion in. But then mobile arrive, and this happened with many hardcore players. They take in like more in the casual spectrum, and they say, okay, why not? I can play just to waste my waiting time and doing some mobile experience. But they are still, in my perception, they are still hardcore players who really want to have hardcore games where they can play for a while, and they can be into, and they can spend money in, and they can build some community around. So and I think it also is very male based on my experience. This market that I'm talking about. Nowadays it's changing, and there are more female influence, but still I feel like at least in my experience in terms of the games that we work with is mainly mature people that they grow with playing games. Now they have they don't change to mobile, they add in mobile to their playing experience.
Right.
Because a lot of it is also demographics, right? Because many Asian countries, people have still 3, 4, 5 kids. In Germany, it's like 1.5 or something like this. So the pyramid looks very different at the bottom. So it's just so many old people in Germany of the population, and not so many new kids coming after. And also these old people already had super early access to technology. So while a lot of the Asian countries were still considered developing countries 20, 30, 40 years ago, here in Germany you already had PCs and consoles, so they grew up with that. They grew up with the first generation of, even before PlayStation, even before Super Nintendo and stuff like this, all right, Atari and all of these systems. Amiga, yeah, like super early, so that's their childhood, and that's what shapes your future consumer behavior also. That's what the nostalgia of games is for you, and then you always want this in a new, different way, but you still want this premium experience, right? And while in the countries that you mentioned, gaming in this format, also in the MENA region a lot, I guess, in the Middle East a lot, and in Turkey, that people grow up with their first gaming experience of mobile games because it's their first accessible device, and maybe the family didn't have the money before to buy a console or to buy these expensive games. So that's why the consumer behavior is shaped very differently from an earlier point, and also the consideration of what a real game is and what not. Because what you have here in Germany often, mobile games are not real, they're kind of games, but not real games. The real game is what you play on a big screen, right? So that's the real game. And what is a very interesting point, what you mentioned, German players like these boiled down experiences of hardcore games. So they still want it to feel and look like a hardcore game, but just like a snackable experience. That's like, yeah, I cannot be on the console right now, I cannot play for 2 hours, I'm at the bus stop, I still want 5 minutes of something that is a bit like the hardcore experience. So still like a little bit maybe pixel style, adventure, a little bit indie feeling to it, short rounds. So games like Archero, for example, they were quite popular as well. So they're still hyper casual-ish, short rounds, snackable, short experiences, but still gave you all the experience of RPG, stats education, going deep into the meta systems, right? So that's what works more here.
Yeah, I wanted to say Sunday is like benefiting from that part that you said, like gaming scene is more male dominant, like in the area of production. But I just checked my number that like around half of the players are women.
And in some games even more, so you have games where 80% of the players.
Yeah, but like I mean in total, so I think that's because more hyper casual games are more, as you said, like the audience are more women, right? More women, and then more like 80 plus audience. So I think this should be a very good market for your company.
Yeah, but we're not building games for the German market. We're building games for international, US first, and then also the rest of the world. So
yeah, because hyper casual is like a mass market.
Yeah, Germany is 2%. So Germany is nice to also take, but we're based in Germany, but our approach to how we do business is not focusing on the German consumer at all.
I think in general, most of the German companies have that approach. So also for Gamigo and Bitpoint and Buga, that was in Buga as well, the main market is the US. And then, yeah, second market could be Germany, because in terms of monetization, is there are a lot of payers in this country. That is great. But yeah, so let's say the most of the developers and the publisher companies in Germany, they don't produce for German market. It's more like worldwide market, and the US is the main goal, or I think for most of the companies around the world, not only Germany.
And then you have the simulation games, these farming simulator, parking simulator. That's German for the German market.
Right, right.
So we can wrap this question, and then from here we can go to the next question. So we talk about this cross-platform and like creative part of German market, and like we mentioned how Germans play games in general. And I had this interesting data that in 2020, I think, from 10 Germans, like 6 of them play games, so video games. So that's interesting, like how Germans play game in general. Okay. So I think we can go to the next question. I think we had this flow that we talk about what was the story of the industry, and then how players play. And I also want to bring this point that you said, like, yes, the playing market is different from production market, but I want to say, like, sometimes this potential that there is in the German market, that because Germany is like biggest in terms of revenue, the biggest in Europe, right? Even if we include UK. So we have this potential here, and so we have this potential, and so like some genre of game, like even mobile, was created by users. So how they were playing games and how like they interact with the game. So I want to say, like, how we can use the advantages of German market and incorporate them.
There are some typical German mobile games also that only work on the German market. These are often like quiz games, word games. So there's some games where you can play with a friend and you do quizzes together and stuff like this, and they're mostly organic, just by viral phenomena in Germany. So this stuff exists, but still, then it's not reproducible as a business. These are just one-time effects that people got lucky with the concept and they could scale it and it still works. But as a company, when you want to have predictable success, then this is not enough, because this is just too risky, just trying stuff that maybe works in your small bubble. So you want to have in mobile, you want to have the largest reach as possible. So definitely US, definitely South America, definitely the whole European region. If you get lucky, also a little bit of Asia, especially China, but this is super hard for many. So this is the general mindset that also investors want. So if you would go to an investor and say, like, I want to build German games for the German market, then you don't get any money, because it's just, this is not a business opportunity. This is something you can find. Maybe you're an indie developer, maybe you have a really cool idea and it works. But then with this, you cannot run a 50, 100 people or 200 people company.
This is run out the battery. So, and totally with you, and to be honest, I think in general for the West market developers, you never think about to do, for example, I was in Spain, working in Ubisoft Spain, they don't do game for the Spanish market, they do they do game for all the world. And I think only Asia is very particular, they do games for Asia, because the market is so big, they don't need to go outside.
Very different.
Very different. And then when they bring games to here, it's really complicated, because they have a totally different mechanism that doesn't work. The pay-to-win thing is something that the West audience hate, and you need to do like some rework in the economy and everything. But I think, in general speaking, in the Western developers, they don't produce for a specific market. They are more, except of course if you have some limitation, like in the Muslim countries that you need to have some special thing to cover the characters or a special thing. But generally speaking, for the West market, they produce for a broad audience. They don't focus in a specific country taste, because there's no business at all if you do that.
So maybe I should specify my question. My question is, like, we have this developers in Germany. They have some problem, funding problems, some mindsets, but they have a potential. So how we can make this developer big, like as your company, like you are working in great companies. So if you want to advise, like maybe some people are so here working in these gaming companies. So what are the advantages that they can focus on? What maybe come to my mind is that Germany is a company like with big technologies around, so they can like incorporate these technologies, like asking big technology companies, and then incorporate these technologies like this AR, VR to their game. Like this can be something that can come as advantage of Germany, and then sits next to the like German.
There are already a lot of AR, VR companies also in Hamburg and Berlin as well, but still this is more artistic, because just the consumer market for VR, AR is maybe the exception of Pokemon Go or something like this. Is just not there. But these VR goggles that you put in your head are always super fun for 20 minutes, and then it's okay, thank you very much. So there's just no big breakthrough. It's not comparable to what you can achieve in sheer numbers and sheer size on console and on PC and on mobile. It's just tiny fractions. So these are more local art projects. Maybe there's an installation where you can go and try out some cool new games, and there are companies that do advising for, like VR advising for companies that, because they use it in production lines, but it's like less in the games direction, but more in the how can we use this gaming technology in other businesses. So this already exists, but it's more hidden. It's not so visible. It's not visible on the gaming market. And again, you have to separate art from business, from experimenting around with cool technologies. There's just different fields. Each of them have their benefits, but yeah.
I take your question right. So how we can grow these companies here? So I think that there are some skills in the German market. So number one is talented people, specialized people. That is a country have a lot of people who have good knowledge in producing game for a while. So this is one thing that is an advantage. Second advantage is also 2 days ago I read something about the president in German, not president, no, sorry, prime minister, Olaf Scholz, yeah, the chancellor, sorry, the chancellor. He won't really support now the whole production of AI technology in Germany. So there are some programs, the funding, the German funding. So nowadays the hubs in Hamburg, the German Association. So they are seeing gaming is interesting industry in terms of not only revenue, in terms also found of work from people, cultural evolution. So I think this is positive. So what else? And the fact that Germany is the center of Europe and they have a lot of different people from different countries. Also, this is an interesting country to do this cross nationality experience, localization thing. So there are some advantages. This is, as I understand, right, what you go. So I think just to keep going what we are doing, to this taking in consideration to include the new technologies to the German market. So, and for the indies, is, as you mentioned, is more complicated how the indies grow. They have the support for some companies. It's true that here you don't have a lot of venture capital that you have, for example, in Helsinki. They have a lot. It's not traditionally the scene for, but I still feel like maybe for the indies, you need to separate the indies who want like do for fun and the indies who really want to build a business. But yeah, I see a lot of potential, but to be honest, I don't see a big difference between other countries in Europe, for example, the Nordics. So I think the potential is the same. It's just to try to keep going, especially to get more support from the government. And something the government need to do is also start to relax the strict laws about in-app purchase GDPR. This is something that it would be definitely help with some part of the business.
So yeah, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink. So the German developers seem super talented, super well educated, but the motivation is just where it is. So we need to start with the motivation. The motivation can be government incentives, so changing the incentives from the government from cultural to financial. It can be deregulation, and it can be also recognition that how mobile, in general, games are recognized within German society, which is usually not a very good standing. We see this very, very critical. So also changing this, but it's all not easy to do and all not just, hey, I had an idea. So it's also not about convincing people. You have to start really at the roots of what are the human motivations of our developers that we have here in Germany.
Get
into your speaking, like as you know, like in game development companies, the ecosystem inside the company, it's usually a bit different, like in classic companies. And my question is, and it's related to the topic, like growth of the German development market. Like, I want to ask if in Germany it is the same inside German companies, development companies, like ecosystem. It's easy, like easy communication, non-formal things, like like you don't like have to go to work, special time, so you can work like at home sometimes and so on. Is it the same in Germany, like in other countries? And also, a little question: is it necessary to know like Deutsch to work in German development company?
I can
You're
say
perfect
that
answer.
depends of the company. So I've been, for example, in 3 different companies in Germany, and I think video games in general is very flexible. It's not like a normal traditional company. So you have flexible time. Normally, you can arrive at 8 to 10. This is one thing. They don't force you to speak German. They give you for free these classes because it's important to be integrated in the culture. It's more for your own integration, but it's not like the main languages is English normally in the companies. Something that I love from Germany is the work balance. Germany is really, really good in general in all the companies that work here about work balance. So your familiar life is as important as your job. So this crunch time is something that only happens, is absolutely necessary. Coming from Spain, I can say this is totally different. So the mindset, do you have other differentiation? For example, the management that's more formal and less formal. You have companies like the management is more horizontal, like Google, for example. You have other companies like it's more vertical, like I don't know, Gamigo or Big Point, but it still is some space for discussion, even if it's a vertical. So I feel like, at least in my experience, and I pass to you this because you are the manager here of your own company, but in my experience in these 3 companies, I think Germany is not as different as other environment for gaming, and it's really flexible, it's really open. The diversity is absolutely something really important. Sometimes it's too much, like Google, for example. But yeah, this is my experience.
You can even have pink hair, right? So you get
Yay!
No, I totally agree with that. So it might be that in some company that are somewhere in the backwoods, somewhere in a small town, and it's a little more traditional conservative, and the majority of employees are German, speaking German. But if you go to the big cities, Berlin, Hamburg, Munich, Cologne, there it's the same as everywhere else in the world gaming. Super international, open English speaking, very diverse. Yeah, so I think I can subscribe that, yeah.
Great, thanks. Thanks, yeah.
Okay, you got your answer?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I think we can wrap also this part. I think Jeannie mentioned some good points about what advantages might German market have. Like you mentioned, it's in Central Europe that I think that this, when I came to Berlin, because I'm like so newcomer, it's like 4 or 5 months I'm here. So yeah, I noticed like Berlin is crazy, like everywhere is here, like it's so mixed, and because everybody was asking me like, how's Berlin? I was like crazy.
I think it's a country, it's not a city, it's kind of country.
Yeah, like you can find everything, like literally everything here, and so this is good, I think, in a way. And I think in terms of gaming companies, it's also one of the like very promising like states, if I'm using the right word. This is an advantage, and I think Christoph mentioned a very good point about like incentive, that there is a talent pool, there is like everything here, but you need to have incentive. So this is like something. I think we have time, and I want to ask, then you can have also questions if you want. I think from now on, anyone has questions, you can join the panel. So I think we can think if we have a good example of a country or a country market that had this development and grow itself, because we can like bring it to our mind and like see what they've done so far. I have some example from Asia, but I prefer if we go like to Europe and like maybe look at some countries and see what they've done.
I mean, Helsinki is one of the best examples from my perspective. I know that the Finnish government have a lot of support. They have a lot of venture capital around. Yeah, of course, you have the big companies there like Supercell or Rovio. But yeah, I think it's one of the example. The government understand gaming is something like a very important part of the business there, and not only in terms of money, also in terms of attract people to go.
So what was the actions they've done? Like,
I mean, I don't know exactly step by step.
no, that's what you've seen as a...
What I see is the first is, sorry, for example, the story for Supercell was pretty interesting. So basically, what they did, they came from Digital Chocolate. I was in Digital Chocolate once. And then was the people from Digital Chocolate, the studio in Helsinki, they shut it down. They said, we have an idea for a game that was in Digital Chocolate, let's empower this game, it was Clash of Clans. And then they found some investor. And this investor invested a lot of money, they built Clash of Clans, they built a different type of management, a very flat hierarchy management, agile management, so fail, try, fail, try. So one of the first time that I know in a studio that they also celebrate the failures. That is something that nobody normally do. They celebrate this failure because at the end of the day it's a way to learn. And Rovio is doing that. So I think they change totally the mindset of development in general. They become, especially Helsinki, like a place where even the weather is awful. Sorry for the people from Helsinki, but it's awful. They also try to look attractive for people, foreigners, to go there to have this experience, this company. And the government realized this and say, okay, you know what? We need to support them. We need to give you money. We need to create some programs for expat to come here to find some possibilities, like, I don't know, kindergartens or something for people with kids. So, yeah, I think I don't know if you have any other...
Maybe France, because that's where most of our competitors are from, our competitors. So the hyper-casual scene, the hybrid-casual scene is very much centered in Paris, at least in France. And it's often again with this spark in the beginning, like you mentioned, Digital Chocolate. In France was not ketchup, and then after that Voodoo and Homa and Tab Nation and Weisenkorb and many others as well. All of them very big at monetized games. Let's call it like this. But it's often, and I don't even know if the French government did anything about that, if they incentivized it. But it's just, you see that the people who work at Voodoo are ex-McKinsey. They are architects. They have very different trajectories in life. They're very success-oriented. And then they join these gaming companies because somehow through these sparks, through these business successes, you create these beacons, this lighthouse, like, oh wow, that's cool. There's something where I can create impact. That's where I can achieve something. And that's where this ripple effect of the whole ecosystem then explodes, same as in Helsinki. And it was also in Germany about 15 years ago. The question is if you can reignite it. Because right now it's on the downturn, exactly like you said, it's more like the opposite. So maybe we need to go through the valley of losses, the valley of tears, realize what's all not working, recover, and then maybe in 10 years again we can reignite it in a different way. Not as before, not like Helsinki, not like Paris, but maybe in a different way that we don't know yet. But,
it's a good example. From my data, like France has like 2,200 something like this gaming companies, and Germany has like 900, so like more than half. But like in terms of revenue, it's like half of. But this is not something that we can compare. So maybe like as you mentioned, like when Voodoo has this very big success, so I can say like, oh, they are making this very simple game, so maybe I can do that. Something that happened in Turkey, like everyone wanted to make a hyper-casual game, even in like...
there's the peak story also, right?
Yeah,
that had this ripple effect.
Yeah.
So, like, everyone wanted to be like, they were the rock stars.
In
they
school,
are
in
the
university, everyone was like making hyper-casual game. So I think it comes from a success story. Like
Yes.
as you said in Helsinki, like it was coming from that success story. So maybe we need to like make that success story here.
And then it depends on how you define success.
Yeah.
If success is, wow, this guy is super rich now and he's living this crazy life, he's in the press and I want to be like this, or this person got recognition by the government for having a super crazy art project and all the other artists are clapping for them and have like, this is the incentive, exactly this is the incentive, and then the lighthouse that says like, hey, this is achievable, and then everyone tries to copy that. But it depends where you place the lighthouse, where everyone is looking at.
Yeah, that's right. So the PR and the recognition also here is important.
Yeah.
So I think here is a good ending for that. Like we can have a good role model that we might already have, like from your companies, but we need to put lighting on that, and then the next success stories will come because people want to look at and then want to be one of these success stories.
Inspired.
Yeah. So any questions here? Yeah, please.
Sorry, I'm just...
Do you need the mic?
No, no worries. I'm a bit confused because I remember a few years ago when Buga started kicking, there was a trend in Germany, and I have the feeling that the German government was also putting some money and influx on it, apart from this netting board. And then can Colibri and Popcore and you, why is this trend not going farther in Germany? Why is it in France something that they follow the trend, and here is all of them are kind of declining at the moment? You know what?
The government is even shutting down the funds. They like this year they shut it down. And not giving out anymore. So
You're talking about the netting board for indie games, or just also for
In
the...
general.
in general,
In
games
general.
in general.
Yeah, in general, so for example, as you mentioned, I think it's wrong. Oh no, yeah, it works. Last year, for example, we got some funding, and this year was like, stop it.
I have that thing when Buga started, I remember Merkel going to their visit and they were like, we are going to be the Silicon Valley of Europe in this way with the games and this. They decided that it's not an option anymore? Or?
Yeah, but then also taking in consideration for the government follow what these companies did, and Buga was a good success at the beginning when they did Diamond Dash and Jelly Splash, and then they was like almost in bankrupt, and then they they changed totally the strategy. Now is the narrative, then acquired by Playtika, la la la. So imagine the government was like, this is successful, ooh, not so much. So let's just take German government is very conservative. And in general, the companies in Germany are very conservative. So they prefer to have liquids and not do risky investment because the whole economical situation in the world. So, and the German government is no exception. So, and this is why they don't get money this year. Because they say, oh my God, we're here. No way. I take the money here just in case. So, it's
Also, the German economy is not in good shape. So the last 20 years, they were really good at optimizing the whole exports to other European countries, to China, to the rest of the world. Now Germany is, I think, the only major European country that's not growing, while Spain, for example, is doing great, Italy is doing great. So now this old optimization and being conservative and being frugal and always every year 10% more doesn't work anymore. Now all the countries that were more on investments in the last year and putting debts in front, and now like we hope this will work in the future, and now benefiting from it, while Germany did not invest. You see the German railroad system and the effect now. And now we have to live with this. So it's also part of the government from the last 20 years. So everyone is hating on the current government, and yeah, they're not the best, but also the problems were built 20 years ago.
But I think also in the German culture in general and history is totally understandable. They are more conservative than other countries. So, but yeah, sadly, this conservative affect us. Yeah.
Any other question? Okay, thank you so much. I hope
Thank
you
you.
enjoyed the panel. Thank you.